Hello, friends. I'm Brian, and this is Gizmo Board Games. And today I'm looking at, it's going to be 10 just because, it's a nice round number. But anyway, a selection of games from my personal collection that could start any collection. I picked 10 different games for different reasons. I'll go over it and why I think they'd be a good fit in any collection. Now, I haven't been in the States for a while, so I don't know how easily available some of these are. I feel like they all should be relatively attainable without much trouble. I'm not sure how costly they are, but I try to lean towards, affordable as best I can as well. To make it easy to, if you wanted to start your collection with a minimal-ish budget, these are like 10 games that I feel like in my collection meet certain criteria that I would recommend to somebody getting into the hobby. So without any further ado, let's get on to it. The first game I would recommend, and obviously as someone who plays a lot by himself, I'm going to recommend a solo game to start off with. So if you want a good solo game, my choice is Friday, Friedman Freeze. I don't play it a whole lot, but it's quick, easy to get to the table, by myself. It's kind of a deck builder. I do enjoy those. You're managing resources. In this case, the resources are your own health. So as you go out and explore the island and try to learn how to make weapons and such, you're going to lose your health along the way, and you're going to need to eat, which is another potential card action, to get that health back. And you're just trying to get as many points as you can, you're trying to meet certain goals along the way. After you go through 3 phases, you're going to play a final phase if you're still alive. Basically trying to win every mission that's left and then take on the pirates that are approaching. I never won this game because I don't think I play it right, but I don't mean that I play it wrong. I mean, just strategically, I'm not very good at it, but it's a good little thinker challenge. And if you want a good small box, won't take up much space. Obviously, you're probably not going to start your collection with, a bunch of shelving. So I feel like this is a good one for you to start your collection to play by yourself. It fits a good spot in the hobby. All right, the second one is a game that if you want to play together, you've got a group, but they're new to gaming, new to the hobby. They don't really want to think, about winning and losing and such, and what strategies they might need. So let's look at a cooperative game, a game that everybody's playing together. And I could have gone with Pandemic. I've got a few versions of those I really like, but I think in this case I'm going to go with Horrified. It's just, I like the theme. I think anybody can get into it. Everybody knows the movie monsters, the tropes. What you want to do is save villagers and beat the monsters, and you're going around and picking up items around the board and then using them to defeat different quests in a way, not really, but the monsters have their own unique ways to thwart them. And so I feel like this one really fits for a new game group, a new gamer, because it's got variable leveling. It's cooperative, and you can choose to play with one monster, 2 monsters, 3 monsters, 4 monsters at a time. So as you get used to playing together and get used to gaming, you can start making it harder and harder. So it's not going to be the same game over and over again like Pandemic might be, where the only variability comes in the shuffling. This one's going to have variability of what's coming in and out on the cards and stuff. But also you can scale how easy and hard it is a little bit more, I guess, fun than the scaling in Pandemic, because you can also throw in more epidemics in Pandemic. But I think throwing in more monsters really feels like you're making it rougher on yourself and really fits the theme. And I think this is available pretty much everywhere now. So that's my second recommendation for a cooperative game for your group, Horrified. All right. Let's look at the third selection, and this is a way to kind of move from maybe you play card games, but you want to try to get into board games. And the Crew is a good way to introduce your card playing friends into the world of doing a little bit more than just playing cards. So the Crew, Quest for Planet 9, and there's the second one, the Quest for the Deep Sea, or whatever it's called, the Deep Sea version. is the newer one. But I feel like they both play relatively the same. You're just playing your hands around in a, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a trick-taking game. So if you're used to playing spades and euchre and the like, you're going to be familiar with how this one plays, where basically you're going to follow suit and the highest card of the suit wins unless it's trumped, and then the trump wins. You're doing the same thing in this game, except you're going to have quests that you're going to complete. Again, it's a cooperative game, so you're not working against your friends, or like euchre and spades are usually in pairs. In this game, everybody's working together without any talking. You're trying to meet, so certain people fulfill the certain tricks that they need to take in order to complete the quest. And it's got a little campaignish style in that you read through it, and there's 50 different quests to go on in order, and they get harder as it goes. So the first one's kind of an easy introductory, but then they get harder and harder as they go. It's definitely a very good game, good for any collection. It's the Crew, either version really works. All right, the next game I'm going to say is just a game that everybody should probably have in their collection, whether they're board gamers or not. It's kind of the new-ish Monopoly, but it's not even that new. It's a Ticket to Ride. It's a German version, but Ticket to Ride. You can play this. You find this anywhere. It's good to introduce people to the hobby of, collecting card sets and then turning them in to put your trains on the board, gathering points for completing your routes and having the longest train. And yeah, it's just a great introductory game. I feel like everybody should have Ticket to Ride or a similar, Catan or whatever introductory level board game. This is the one I really enjoy playing, and my family really enjoys playing, Ticket to Ride. So that's the one I'm personally recommending. I'm going to slide these over so they look a little better there. There we go. But yeah, Ticket to Ride will be the one I'm recommending that I own that would fit any beginner collection as well for that introductory game that you can bring about and teach to anybody and play relatively quick and easy. All right, so let's look at bringing more people on board. We're going to get a little bit harder now as the game goes on. Now that you've introduced your friends, you've played together, we're going to look at a little bit harder stuff. But before we do that, now let's say you got a lot of people in. In this case, 3 to 8, bang the dice game, the party game, and a social deduction. I'm not a big fan of social deduction. This one you're not really deducing as much as some of the other social deduction games, but instead you're just playing as the sheriff or the deputy to keep the sheriff alive. You're playing as the outlaws to kill the sheriff, and if you're a renegade, you're playing for yourself. You're just trying to be the last man standing. I like this better than the card version, which I think was the first version. I just enjoy the dice game better. A little bit more randomness. I like the arrows and such that come into play. And yeah, so this is my pick for the group game, social deduction, what have you, party game. It's going to be Bang the Dice Game. All right, moving up just a slight step from Ticket to Ride and moving into the area of kind of getting a little more in-depth with what you're doing. One of my favorite mechanisms is engine building, and you could go with, what am I thinking of? Splendor. I know you can find that one everywhere. Marvel Splendor, whatever, if that brings your people to the group. You can go with that. I don't personally own Splendor. I do own Century Spice Road, and this is the one I recommend for introductory engine building, and it's the only engine building type game I'm going to have on here. You're just building cards to that basic creature. I guess it's not that much engine, but you're utilizing the cards to generate resources, and then you're purchasing cards from the board. This is a game that's going to introduce you to some of those more extreme mechanisms you're going to be doing, generating resources and collecting cards and paying attention to what's on the board and how it's going to move and what you need to grab before somebody else grabs to help your personal objectives and your engine be in the hand grow. So moving on up into a little bit tougher territory, but still in the realm of everybody can play. I'm going to go with Juicy Fruits here as the game I recommend for getting used to resource management. The actions are real simple. You're going to slide a card across your board, and however far it slides and what's on the card is going to give you those resources. You use those resources to go to the market to buy, victory point cards or other resource generating cards or what have you. and you're putting those on the board or to the side of the board, and then everybody's going to play the game until enough things have been bought from the board to trigger the end game. So it's a little more complex, but not overly complex. Your actions are very simple, but you're really getting used to the idea of generating resources and then cashing them in to trigger bonus points or to build towards what you're doing. Looking at in-game objectives, you might want to claim 4 points. It just builds that thinking strategy up a little bit. Plays quick and easy. Really like the resources in here. Nice hard wood pieces, thick cardboard. Simple, easy game. Not many people know about, so I'm not sure how easy it is to find. But I recommend this as a simple, easy to bring to the table resource generator, resource management kind of game. All right, the next game I want to look at is another one of my favorite personal mechanisms styles, and that is worker placement. And we're going with Lords of Waterdeep for this one. Let me hold it up here. Lords of Waterdeep is not what I would say is a full-on introductory worker placement game, but it is a game that is easy to bring people in the hobby, especially if they're familiar with D&D or video gaming. Even if you're used to sending playing people out on quests, that's what you're doing. You're basically the NPC that's giving quests to your cubes, which are, your rogues, your clerics, your whatever, the warriors that you're sending out. But this is going to be the introduction to placing workers out and taking action spots away from everybody else. Building buildings where you get something if somebody else goes to your building, and you're just trying to complete quests. So it's not a whole lot to follow. Basically, in the end, you're just trying to get cubes to turn cubes in from your quest cards and get points before the end of the game. You want to have the most points. I really like it. I think this is one of the better introductories to worker placement for the general public. But if you want to check out some other ones, this is not my favorite worker placement. Stone Age is real nice and good introduction, or I like Champions of Midgard and Viticulture are also great worker placement games. But for the sake of starting your collection, I recommend Lords of Waterdeep. All right, next up, let's look at area control. So now you just want to go out and have the most area under your control. And my recommendation for that one is Small World. It's really easy to play in that you just need more cardboard bits than the space you're trying to take, and you're getting points for how many areas of the board you control at the end of each turn. But at a certain point, your pieces are going to be taken off the board too, and you're going to want to go into decline, but you're still going to get points for everything that is in decline, and you can take new races and abilities. And this is my favorite part of the game, is those are mix and match. So every game is going to be different based on the traits that come out and the races you play. It's got a bunch of expansions if you want to get more variety even than what's offered in the initial box, which is quite a bit. It plays easier than I probably explained it. So it's a good way to introduce just a little bit of area control. Take that, I'm taking over this land that you thought you had. I'm using this dragon, I'm blowing up. You thought you had big defense there, but now I throw a dragon at you. Or whatever the case is, you get in the fantasy realm again, like Lords of Waterdeep, so it's easier to bring everybody on board. And while it sounded probably a little more complex, it really doesn't play that complex at all, and it's pretty quick and easy to pick up. As far as getting other people on board, I really like Small World, and I recommend that for any collection. So that brings us to the last one. One of my favorite things is deck building, and Clank is deck building and then some. And again, I guess I'm leaning into the fantasy realm a little bit, but I feel like that's easiest to bring everybody on board. And with Clank, not only you're doing deck building, but you're doing dungeon exploration, and it's kind of a race game too, in that you're trying to get in and get out with an artifact either as quick as you want or go as deep as you want, so you get more points from the artifact you get out. So you're kind of playing each other, playing against the dragon. You're trying to sneak around, but your cards are making you make noise. You're attacking enemies that might make noise, etc., etc. Clank, deck building adventure, I recommend to anybody as a good deck building game and an introduction to other, racing type game, things like that. I really enjoy any of these games. I would recommend to anybody for starting their collection. And that's my video. That's all I have for this video. Thank you for watching. Hit me a thumbs up if you like this video. Hit the subscribe if you'd like to see more from me. and I will come back every week with another video. So thanks for watching.